Okay, in this video I'm going to be predicting the main card of UFC 316, which is a pretty okay card overall. I don't think it's good, to be honest. I think the main card is like super weak, but there's some sneaky good matchups. There's a lot of fun that could be had, and I have some strong takes about the main event. And also, I feel as though the main event is still extremely hype, even though it's a rematch that arguably is undeserved. I love this matchup. I loved it the first time, and I love it this time. I still think it holds a lot of weight in terms of hype for the UFC and for just anything that could happen in the fight in general. I think it's a sick fight. I'm kind of alone on that in that opinion, but we're going to be going over the main card. So we're going to start with Vicente Luque versus Kevin Holland. So I'm going to go with Kevin Holland to win because Vicente Luque, to me, has always been good. He's always been solid. He's always been very aggressive on the feet, and he can wrap up a Darce choke like no other. But he's really old. He's taken a lot of damage. The Joaquin Buckley fight, he pretty much quit. He's had the brain bleed, like a really bad brain bleed injury that like threatened his career. He's just out of his prime, and I don't see him being able to utilize the game plans that work for him against a guy in Kevin Holland who is unfinishable on the feet. Kevin Holland is one of the best chins in the UFC. He's not going to get knocked out by Luque. Luque could wrap up a Darce choke, but Kevin Holland's he's not getting submitted willy nilly by people that aren't like super solid on the ground. He got submitted by Randall Ritter and Hamzat Chimaev. I don't see Luque in that way that he's gonna like impose his wrestling and his grappling and his offensive submissions onto Kevin Holland at all. Really, I just don't see it happening. And I think he's completely out of his prime at this point. Kevin Holland isn't good. They're both coming off of wins: Vincente over Themba Garimbo and Kevin Holland over someone. But I don't think Kevin Holland or Gunnar Nelson, which isn't impressive, but I don't think I just don't see a path to victory for Vincente Luque as he likes to fight, which is kind of a firefight. He likes that. Kevin Holland's going to keep it at range. He's going to keep it technical. And if anybody's going to get chinned, it's Vincente Luque. He has the damage and the weathering. If anybody's going to get submitted, it'll probably be Holland, but I just don't see that happening. I see Kevin Holland winning this by decision. Honestly, I see him knocking him out actually in the late into the third or late into the second round. The later rounds, I see Kevin Holland finding his hands, and I see him chinning Vincente Luque. I really don't like Luque's just how he's looked in his career. Besides the Themba win, like the Themba Garimbo win to me in the moment was super surprising, super exciting, like insane upset to me in my brain because I didn't think Luque was going to win another fight. And Kevin Holland is not going to get finished on the feet. And that's Vincente's path to victory, in my opinion. So I think Kevin's going to win. I think he'll just outstrike him and probably find his chin at some point. Sadly, because I do like Vincente a lot, I think Kevin Holland's going to be able to find anything really he wants to on the feet if if the fight goes on. So Kevin Holland to win. Next, Mario Batista versus Patchy Mix. So this one's super interesting. Patchy Mix is making his debut. He's a very solid fighter from Bellator. 20-1. Extremely good. Has a ton of finishing potential. What I really don't like to do at all is pick anybody coming into the UFC from any other promotion because Michael Chandler was the only one to do it successfully, it seems. And Yuri. And that's not what I mean by any other promotion, but like people that are like super hyped up and have a lot of profile that come into the UFC against big names. Like Patricio Pitbull's thing with Yair, he got smoked. Kaya Sakura with Pantoja got smoked. I don't love it. But I don't hate this for Patchy Mix coming to the UFC. He's significantly younger than a Patricio Pitbull, than a Kaya Sakura. He's younger, he's more in his prime. Mario Batista isn't like a top 5 fighter like a Pantoja is or a Yair Rodriguez. So this is much more approachable for Apache Mix making his debut in the UFC against Mario Batista, who's had close fights in the past. I really hate Mario Batista. I think he's boring as fuck. I think what he did with Jose Aldo was horrible, and there's a reason everybody hates him. Patchy's been talking a lot of shit, which I really like. I really like when fighters talk shit and give me something to care about. Fighting, it's super fun. The prelims are fun. I'm looking forward to the prelims. That's not why I'm watching the card. I'm watching the card for the stakes of the main event, the co-main event. Hopefully the entire main card has some heat to it. And Patchy is giving us that, which I really appreciate. This matchup is tricky. Mario Batista is very tricky to fight. He's very solid all around, and he seems to he definitely goes for the game plan that's least resistance. But Patchy's a finisher, and he kind of is aggressive, and I think he has something to prove. So I really don't hate Patchy makes his chances in this fight, and I'm probably going to pick him to win by decision or a finish as things progress. Because also, I really do think the everything is might be getting to Mario Batista's head. All of the backlash and all of the hate might be getting into Mario's head a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised. And if I'm Mario Batista and that shit is getting into my head, and I know it is, I'm not going to make this one boring. That's my main prediction of this. I predict Mario Batista being more willing to be in a firefight position against Patchy Mix and really go into the pocket and start throwing, or just go for more risks in general. I think that favors Patchy big time. I think Patchy's going to be the one pushing forward, looking for dangerous things. And Mario Batista, I think, is going to kind of be willing to go into those exchanges a bit more because of the backlash. This is a very hoity-toity prediction, but I do think that's what's going to happen. I think all the backlash is going to get to him, and I think it's going to be in his detriment, and I think Patchy's going to start implementing his game plan with his confidence, and I think he's going to start piecing up Mario Batista on the feet. I think he might rock him. I think he might drop him. On the ground, Patchy Mix is no fucking slouch whatsoever. I see him making this look relatively dominant on the feet to either a decision or a late round TKO for Patchy. That's my prediction. Next. Hopefully Patchy's the only fucking guy to come out of any outer organization to do well after becoming a relative star in those other organizations. It would make sense for Patchy to maybe do it where none of the other ones have. But I hate Mario Batista, so I'm going to root against him no matter what. So it doesn't really matter. Next, Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. So this one's a no-brainer. This one there's no what if this happens? Because I really don't see a path to victory for Kelvin Gastelum whatsoever. Joe Pyfer has one loss in the UFC. I believe only one loss. Maybe he got one early. I don't think he really did, but Jack Hermanson was his loss. He got fraud checked by Jack Hermanson, who is tricky to fight. Overall, Joe Pyfer's been just obliterating people with imposing whatever he wants onto his opponent. Grappling, heavy hands, a ton of knockouts. Kelvin Gastelum has a great chin. He struggled so bad with weight cutting over the past couple years. He gave Izzy, the whole big thing about Kelvin Gastelum is that he gave Izzy a really tough fight, arguably his toughest fight. I don't think that's good for Izzy, to be honest. I don't think that bigs up Kelvin Gastelum as much as that brings down Izzy, to me at least. Because I feel like Joe Pyfer is going to do whatever he wants to Kelvin Gastelum, and I see him knocking him out, I'm not going to lie. But I see him doing really whatever he wants. Joe Pyfer could out-grapple Kelvin Gastelum easily. He's been out-grappled in the past. Especially, he's been out-grappled by Sean Brady, who is Joe Pyfer's opponent, good training partner. So if he's going to have secrets going into this matchup, it's only going to help him. Kelvin Gastelum has come in overweight in his past 3 or 4 fights, and it's at middleweight. And I'm pretty sure I know he missed weight for a couple welterweight fights. He might have missed weight for a middleweight fight. I wouldn't be surprised if Kelvin Gastelum misses weight for this fight. But it just doesn't add up anything good to me. Kelvin Gastelum beat D-Rod in a competitive decision, which I thought he might have lost. That's not the same level as Joe Pyfer. I think Joe Pyfer would obliterate D-Rod in a round. I think Joe Pyfer isn't top contender level, in my opinion. If Jack Hermanson relatively dominates you, you're not top level, but he can beat Kelvin Gastelum at this point in Gastelum's career. I really think Joe Pyfer is going to smoke him. I don't really think there's an argument for a Kelvin Gastelum win unless it gets really brawly and Joe Pyfer does something stupid. But I don't even think Kelvin Gastelum has power anymore. He doesn't really have anything for Joe Pyfer, in my opinion. I think this is going to look completely one-sided. I don't even think it'll be a scrap. I see Kelvin Gastelum pretty much breaking. I know he's been tough in the past, but I really don't see that being the case in this fight. I see Joe Pyfer doing whatever he wants, and it looking kind of sad. That's my overall prediction for this. It's going to look sad. Joe Pyfer's going to finish him, and then that'll be that. Maybe Kelvin retires, because I know the weight cut's a problem for him, and I know the UFC doesn't like that either. And if he gets smoked by Pyfer, I don't really see a path going forward for him that makes much sense unless just get some extra money, which is okay. But yeah, I see Joe Pyfer destroying him. Next, the co-main event of Juliana Pena versus Kayla Harrison. I am going to go with Kayla Harrison because it's obvious. It's obvious. It's like it makes the most sense. You would pick Kayla Harrison because she's a goddamn giant and she's dominant in a lot of fights that she's been in. She looks like a dude. She has crazy, insane muscular development. Juliana Pena is super sloppy, good at trash talk, kind of. Not really, but she's at least trying to hype up her fight, which I like a lot. They're both trying to hype up the fight, which I do like. It makes me happy that when fighters try to do that. But Juliana Pena, she has the Amanda Nunes win, and then that's really. Besides that, I haven't seen anything worth watching that's anything at all dominant or worth watching at all to me. She's sloppy on the feet and in the grappling. She's getting close decisions with a lot of people, arguably good people, but at the same time, Juliana Pena was kind of a fill-in for Amanda Nunes because Amanda kind of beaten everybody. She got lucky, as we later found out after Amanda Nunes smoked her in the rematch. She got pretty lucky in the first fight, and that's pretty much it. That's her hype, is that she beat Amanda Nunes luckily because Amanda smoked her. Kayla Harrison is dominant. Not as dominant as the idea of Kayla Harrison. She has a ton of holes, I would say. And she is super sloppy in her own right. And she made it close with fighters that, like her last fight was pretty fucking close, to be honest. And I didn't like that. And it made me maybe think that Juliana Pena had a chance. But at the end of the day, I think Kayla Harrison's too big, too strong. It's going to be too physical. She's just going to grapple fuck her. And that's the only prediction that makes any sense to me. I don't see Juliana Pena outstriking Kayla on the feet, or if she is at any point, she's going to get taken down or held up against the cage. It's going to be boring as fuck, but Kayla Harrison is going to win this fight by close decision, in my opinion. That's pretty much all you can say about this fight. There's not a lot of in-depth analysis into this one. If anybody's, honestly, I think Juliana Pena is going to have if someone has an emotional problem going into this fight, it's Juliana Pena, I would say. But yeah, Kayla Harrison's probably going to win by decision. It just makes the most sense to me. But yeah, next, finally, the main event of the evening. Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley. The rematch after Merab beat Sean O'Malley by decision in their first fight. In that first fight, it was not a dominant destruction from Merab. It was not a just blowout from Merab in any way. People like to pretend it was. It was a very close fight. And I'll also say that when that first fight was announced, I was extremely hyped, and I was extremely confident in O'Malley going into that first fight. And even though things went how they went in the first fight, in the rematch, I still have the exact same feelings about Sean O'Malley's potential going into this fight. If anything, it's more so after the first fight and after his preparation in this camp has been taken into consideration. I think Sean O'Malley has a way better chance of winning the rematch. And I've thought this since the fight was made. I've thought Sean O'Malley was going to win this since this rematch was announced. I think Sean O'Malley he's so crisp on the feet. He's such a sniper. He's so good at finding his range and finding the shots that matter. And Merab was able to neutralize that in the first fight via his grappling. But, and I hate to do this because it is weird and it doesn't apply to, I don't apply it to every prediction I make, but Sean O'Malley had his labrum, he tore his labrum and wasn't able to train grappling for his camp. He had the surgery right after. He's been, according to him, has had a full grappling training camp. He's cutting out a lot of distractions in his life. This is a very locked in, healthy O'Malley going into this fight. At least it seems like that on the outside and what he's telling the masses. But I think that's going to help him. I thought that first fight was close. Very close. Especially on damage. Very fucking close. And if anybody's going to have the edge in adjustment making going into a rematch and game planning, it's Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley is a smarter fighter than Merab. Merab has his cardio, and he has what works for him, and it's his bread and butter, and it works really well, and it's efficient. I wouldn't say Merab's a smart fighter, but I would say Sean O'Malley is a smart fighter and a smart dude overall. I'm glazing a bit, but I would say Sean O'Malley, if anybody's making adjustments in their camp to deal with the other one, it's Sean O'Malley. If anybody's going to change up their game plan going into this fight, it's Sean O'Malley, especially if he's coming off of a loss, which he knows he didn't win. He knows he didn't win the first fight, so he knows he needs to change something. Merab's going into this fight with a win, so he doesn't feel. It's more likely for him not to feel the need to change anything and just go in there and do it again. I don't see that benefiting Merab. I see Sean O'Malley being able to stuff the takedowns more often this time. I see him being less afraid on the feet to just unload and start doing his own thing on the feet. I don't see him being timid. He was a little timid in the first fight. I don't see him being timid in this one. And no matter who you are, in a fight with Sean O'Malley, he's always dangerous. From beginning of round 1 to end of round 5, he is always dangerous. And Merab doesn't finish people. So it's going to go the distance if Merab wins. The only path to victory Merab has is the exact same way he did in the first fight. I feel as Sean has a couple now. He has the finish, and I could see him getting a damage decision. If one of those rounds is different, he wins the fight. Maybe to a bunch of people's, probably wouldn't have liked it. But if he would win that fight, if one round goes a different direction, a tiny bit of a different direction even. I really don't like that for Merab. I don't like how many variables are now going into this matchup. With knowing the outcome of the first one, I think Sean O'Malley's really going to adjust. I think he's going to put his game plan together. I think he's going to impose it onto Merab way more efficiently than he did in the first fight. And Merab isn't as hungry as he once was. He's kind of in that position where he's comfortable. And now the roles are reversed, where Merab was a hungry motherfucker trying to get the belt, and Sean was kind of defending and being stationary a bit. And now Sean's the one hungry and chasing it. And judging based on all of his lack of antics outside the UFC, he cut smoking weed, he cut jerking off, I guess. That helps, I guess. He cut social media. That's all telling me that he is very focused on beating Merab. And I wouldn't want to lose to fucking Merab. Twice especially. So I'm sure he's putting a lot of care into this camp. And he was injured in the first one. I feel all the signs are pointing to Sean O'Malley getting the upset win against Merab. And a lot of people disagree. A lot of people think Merab's just going to do the same shit. I don't see... I get it. I understand that. But people hate on Sean O'Malley for dumb reasons. He's a very educated fighter and is solid as fuck everywhere, especially on the feet timing game. He's second. There's no one better than him in the striking department on the feet right now in the UFC. Using his dynamic slickness, there's no one better, in my opinion. And I'm very excited to see him coming to come back in general. And that's why I think this fight is so big. Because it's like, can he do it? Sean O'Malley is one of the most exciting fighters in the UFC for me. And Merab has proven to be a personality. His fight style is boring, but his personality is proving to be interesting. And this isn't a bad rematch to me. So people can hate on it. I understand. It's not deserved. But I really like it. And I see Sean O'Malley pulling off the upset and getting like an actual good moment out of the UFC finally after a long time. And maybe we can get a main event finish out of Sean O'Malley. Michael Morales did also get one, which we have two now. We have Sean Brady and Michael Morales. But if Sean or yeah. So if Sean O'Malley can get a finish in a pay-per-view, it'd be the highlight of the year in terms of main events, in my opinion. Jack did very well, but this would be it, and it would be another star in the making. Oh yeah, another thing to say about that. If this goes to decision, the star is winning. Sean O'Malley's getting the decision win if it goes to a close decision. Sean's getting it. So, I feel like all signs point to Sean, and it's what I would prefer anyway. But I understand the Merab pick. Of course I do. He won the first fight, but I think people are counting out Sean O'Malley more than they should be. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised come Saturday night. And yeah, I think that's about it. Let me know what you think about my predictions. I will see you soon.